Would you like to comment upon disabilities in schooling?
Well, I just, in May, went to a school for the blind in Pittsburgh for some computer training, and it was a very interesting place. I went for computer training, but they actually teach everything there. They have a special program for people who are adjusting to their blindness, and so they teach all these courses. They teach courses on orientation and mobility, which I have mentioned before. They teach courses on how to cook if you are visually impaired, how to put makeup on, how to shave if you can't see, or how to get employed. They have all these different classes, and it was set up like a high school with different periods and certain lunch times, and there actually was a buzzer for when the period ended. I was in the computer training technology center, so I really didn't have to move from class to class, but there were people that moved from class to class, and people who are adjusting to their blindness and go to that school, they actually stay there for weeks or months at a time. And their goal is for you to be independent. They do have people who stay there like I did. They have a dormitory, but they also had people who came from the local area, and especially I met one young man who went to high school for half the day and took regular classes, and then for the other half of the day he came to this school and worked on his skills, orientation and mobility skills, or what have you. So that was a very, very interesting place. And there are schools like that in other parts of the country. In fact, here on Long Island, I believe that Helen Keller Services for the Blind in the National Center is in Sands Point, and people stay there for weeks or months at a time and learn how to adjust to blindness, and I believe also, of course, as well as hearing, because Helen Keller was also hearing impaired as well. So I believe that it's great for young people to have the exposure to both kinds of schooling. I know that there would have to be a lot of adjustments to be put into a regular school, but I believe that they do have that in some places now. So I've spoken to a lot of Girl Scout troops and Boy Scout troops, and also special programs for young people who are visually impaired. So I try and impress upon them to learn as much as they can, especially with assistive technology, and be as independent as they can.
Okay. So assistive technology is pretty key to
assistive technology, and this is one thing that I forgot to touch on, is that today being visually impaired is just we are so lucky to be in this age of technology, that we have all these tools at our fingertips to use, because I probably wouldn't have my job if it wasn't for the assistive technology on my computer that I use today. So, and other things, other assistive technology. So we are very lucky that that we have that. There's Braille. You can learn Braille. I have learned a little bit of Braille. I haven't learned a lot yet, but
it's tough to learn Braille?
It is tough to learn. It is it's easy to memorize what the dots are, the configuration of the dots, but then to actually read, it takes a lot of concentration and a lot of memorization. So it is tough to learn. But
especially because maybe you have to learn it now that you're older. Maybe if you
Yes.
learn it
Yeah.
it's like learning a new language.
Yes, if I just learned to do that instead of reading with my eyes, that would have been a lot easier. But this assistive technology today, everything, they have talking everything. So I have a talking calculator, I have a talking clock, I have, lots and lots of different kinds of talking assistive technology. So it's only going to get better. So we have these things, and they just make us so much more independent.